One of the most controversial cars that's been released in the past year, besides I'd say the Acura Integra, is the new Subaru WRX. Today I'm at the 2022 Chicago Auto Show, and let's see where Subaru might have gone wrong. So in front of the WRX, of course, just like every WRX has had over the past 20 years, this one still has the hood scoop. So I salute Subaru for keeping that and not doing a front mount intercooler. That is, well, I don't want to flame it too soon because I like the headlights. These are LED headlights with LED daytime running lights. It's a more slimmer design. I like the front end of it. These look, I don't usually like gray, but these look pretty good in this gray color. But the reason why is because it hides all this black plastic over here. And there's a lot of black plastic all over the car. I do like the front end of it. It's not too bad looking. In terms of pricing and trim level, Subaru hasn't released official pricing, but I'm expecting it to start around 30 grand, just like the outgoing model. And that's pretty much what its competitors like the GTI and Civic Si are around. Even though the Civic Si is the cheapest one of the bunch, I'd like to review one of those. Back to the WRX, you could get it in 3 trim levels: base, limited, and GT. This one is a GT, and there's an annoying thing about the GT that I will tell you about, but you have to stick around in this video. Unless if you've seen other people's videos, but still watch this one. So on the side of the WRX, there are a few things that I wouldn't call complaints, but I have to talk about, like, the theme of this car is black plastic. Now Subaru in their press kit said that it is the texture on the fender flares and the bumpers are to help aerodynamics. Okay, but something with aerodynamics is that the vents in the fenders are functional for cooling. That is something nice. Since this is a GT model, this has these 18-inch alloy wheels, which look pretty sharp. They make it look a lot better. I've seen, we were in the DC Auto Show a few weeks ago and we saw a base WRX with the 17-inch alloy wheels. Those did not look that good. They looked a little bit too small. It looked like an uglier Impreza. This it's not growing on me, but it looks a little bit better. I still am not crazy about the textured aerodynamic black plastic on the side sill or rockers, I'd say. And the silhouette of it, it's kind of bubbly and weird. I don't know. I've seen, this has been out for a little while, at least pictures and video, but I'm still not used to it. So, under the hood of the WRX, this is not where, I wouldn't say things go wrong here, but I think things could have been done differently. It's kind of a similar story with the new BRZ, which I'm not unhappy with. This is the same 2.4 liter flat 4-cylinder engine. It's the same one that you'll find in the Ascent and the Outback XT and also the BRZ, but the BRZ just isn't turbocharged. It makes 271 horsepower and 258 pound-feet of torque, either through a 6-speed manual or Subaru's Performance automatic transmission, which is really a CVT. Since I'm talking about the CVT, that's something with the GT trim. You can only get it with the CVT, and it's like the most optioned and like the most driver-oriented, I'd say, WRX. And there's another thing inside that I want to talk about. And of course, these are symmetrical all-wheel drive. It's a good powertrain, but I feel like they could have done more. I would have liked to see at least 300 horsepower from a stock WRX, but it's okay. They talk a lot about the torque curve, just like the BRZ, so I'd have to drive it to actually see, improvement. In the back of the WRX, this is also, well, this is my least favorite part of it. I mean, I think this is like universally something that, people, it's a cringe fest. I would talk about first I'll talk about the taillights. These are magma style LED taillights. They look okay on this, but they look better on the BRZ. The shape of it, they're kind of like too high up or too thin. I don't really like them, but incandescent reverse and turn signals, but the brake light and tail light is LED. It's not a bad looking rear end. Well, if you don't look at this, but this is, I call it the baboon's butt. Like, it just sticks out. And I'm not that crazy about the black plastic, because imagine this in 10 years when someone like me can afford it. It's gonna be all faded, like not just the back, but like, the sides and the front bumper. You see how like everything else in the mid-2000s with black plastic cladding has, it's all faded and nasty now. It could have been painted and it could be pushed in a little bit more. It reminds me of like, in the 70s and 80s when Euro cars had to get their like big fat American rear bumpers and front bumpers. I don't know, that's all I'm gonna say about it. I do see that you have quad tips. Doesn't look bad, but I think I would prefer two big tips. I think it would look a little bit better. In the trunk of the WRX, since this one has the smart key, you can open it with the fob, but you need the fob, but there's a button over here. The trunk, there's something that this car has going for it. You could fit maybe two mid-sized people back here, and it's a 60-40 split rear seat it seems, but I don't see any levers inside that you can drop the seat down. And then underneath here, no spare tire, of course, because like what new car has a spare tire? A bare minimum doesn't have spare tire, but you have a nothing. There's a jack, probably a can of Fix-A-Flat, and like hopes and prayers, you know, on the side of the road with AAA, but that's all I have to say. Inside of the new WRX, this is where things kind of do get better. The first thing I want to talk about, because this is the first time I'm getting in a GT, are the seats. Now in the GT you get these really nice Recaro seats. They're just so nice, and you only get them with the Devil's transmission. The Lord's transmission is the manual transmission with 3 pedals, but you know, I don't understand why they did that. Subaru marketing, let me know, but I don't understand it. You do have kind of the same steering wheel from the old one, or it just looks like, you know, stuff off Crosstrek, which isn't a bad thing, you know, but flat bottom steering wheel with red stitching. There is red stitching everywhere through here, and there's a lot of soft touch, yeah, except, you know, here, but when are you going to touch the top? But everything else is pretty nice. So quality has gone up, because the old one, there was a lot of, you know, plastic, which that interior still looks good today, but I do see, you know, they had to get hip with the times. Something I don't like is the electronic parking brake. You need a handbrake. Like, this is the type of car, if they say that this is the type of car that people go rally crossing in, which first of all, who's gonna pay 30 grand and go off-roading with their 6 inches of ground clearance car? But you need a handbrake to pull on it if you're gonna drift it, especially with 3 pedals. But you have this 11.4 inch display. It's Subaru's Starlink setup. It has Apple CarPlay, Android Auto. It's not bad. It's the same one that you'll find in the new Legacy and Outback and the new Forester. It's not a bad system. I've not had too much time with it. I wish there were more physical buttons, because you can get lost in the menus in this. Even though for the climate, I do know it's like the bottom half. Something that I really don't like about the base trims of the WRX is that you get 2 really, there's nothing else I can say, really bad looking screens that just look like, you know, it's just a sea of gray, depressing plastic. The infotainment isn't bad in the upper trim levels. You have paddle shifters in this CVT model, which are okay, you know, they're plasticky. They say that this transmission is supposed to be good, so I'll be the judge of that when I drive it, but it's not bad. Like I said, the seats are really comfortable, very supportive. I don't know if they're heated or not, but that would be in the infotainment screen over here. You do have a sunroof on this one, but it's not terrible, you know. Center console, pretty nice, well, nicely sized. Glove box is nicely sized as well. You could put a big bottle in there. Then there's bottle holders on the cup holders. This one has the Harman Kardon audio system. Not bad. In the back of the WRX, things are not bad here. You still have the same, you know, red stitching all throughout the interior, and the same suede or Alcantara material. This rear seat is not that bad. The headroom, I'm 5'9", and yeah, my hair is touching just very gently, pressing on the ceiling. My feet do fit under the seat. Legroom isn't too bad, and the driver's seat is in my driving position, and like I said, I'm 5'9". 2 map pockets back here. You have 2 2.1 amp USB Type A ports, so I'm glad that Subaru is adding connectivity back here. There is a center console, well, armrest with very shallow cup holders. I wouldn't use them, but you do have cup holders in the doors as well. That's not too bad. I also just noticed all 4 windows are automatic, so that's, I mean, not too bad, but this is a driver's car anyway. Those are my brief thoughts of the 2022 Subaru WRX. We had the base model to do a video of. back in DC, but I kind of want to wait to see a higher trim level so I didn't completely, there was a word that I was going to use, completely kick it. I guess that's what I'll say. Let me know what you guys think about the WRX in the comments. Hopefully I can actually drive an auto and a CVT, well, auto and manual one. Even though, why would someone want an automatic WRX? I know they sell, but it's a car like this. Like, it's a sporty car. Get the manual. But if you don't like what I talked about, give me a dislike. You gave me the view anyway. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. No, give me a like, comment, and subscribe. And if you didn't like me, you can dislike, and I got the view. Now, bye peeps.